Girl, he's just not that into you. Welcome to L Squared, a podcast with fresh Love Island content. In episode 12 of Love Island USA Season 2, we have a few examples of, girl, he's just not that into you. We need to bring in some bombshells ASAP. I believe Casa Amor is supposed to be starting this week because it is week 3 out of 6 in the season, and they usually bring that about in the middle. So I think Casa Amor is going to start in a couple of episodes, and these Islanders definitely need it because they're getting sick of each other. Some people are seriously not clicking, and it's not attractive to watch them try to make it work with people they're just not that into. We will explain in a later episode what exactly Casa Amor is and how it works. For the time being, we're going to review this current episode of Love Island USA. First, let's start with Connor and Mackenzie because they have been our most happening drama so far. Even though their drama is old, we're tired of it, there has been a micro progression. The episode started with Connor and Mackenzie being chosen to go to the hideaway, except Moira tried to intercept that and was like, how about we put it to a vote? And then there was kind of some awkwardness around the fire pit. So Lauren kind of intercedes a little bit and says, hey, if they want to go, let them go. And then Mackenzie obviously looks annoyed. So Trey is like, damn. And then people try to offer it up to Carrington and Kierstan, which I thought was a dead plan because I don't even think Carrington wants to be in a situation like that with Kierstan. So really the only option in there was Connor and Mackenzie, unless people just wanted to give Justine and Caleb a shot so they could have some intimate time to get to know each other a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, I was kind of glad that Moira spoke up during the vote because Mackenzie just seems kind of domineering in that relationship. She just tried to snatch Connor. But at the same time, it wasn't really a big deal. It was just like some awkwardness. I thought it was interesting that Carrington approached Connor about like what he's going to do if Mackenzie's very forward with him. I think Connor said something like he's just going to let it happen, or I don't know. That whole situation to me was just dead. But in the hideaway, things got a little bit juicier where Mackenzie was on top of Connor. I don't know what she was doing. Some people think she may have been, putting her hands all over his body, leaving that up to your imagination. And Connor was doing a lot of giggling. So Kenzie was getting mad at him. This girl gets mad at him for everything. In some of the post interviews, ex-Islanders have commented that Kenzie and Connor have bickered a lot, like off screen. And Connor was very excited about the bidet. I've never used a bidet. It sounds exciting, but he was like so excited about it that that's the thing he's telling the boys about after the hideaway. I kind of respected Connor for not kissing and telling, so to speak, but I feel that's in part not only due to his respect for Mackenzie, but also because he doesn't have a lot of sexual experience. So I feel he just didn't have anything to brag about, as well as he's not a very braggadocious guy. Mackenzie, on the other hand, disappointed me when she ran to the girls and basically snitched on Connor, saying, yeah, he hasn't done a lot. I thought that was kind of rude because the one thing that I thought of instantly was that the girls are going to like take that back to the guys. And I don't think the guys are going to say anything to Connor about it, but I feel if Connor didn't want that information out there and Mackenzie respected that, she would have just kept her mouth shut about whatever happened in the hideaway. Later in the episode, Connor and Mackenzie have this conversation about the game they played during the episode, which was Smooch Mary pie, and Mackenzie got pied twice. So what? But she was offended because Calvin pied her for putting Connor on an emotional roller coaster. And then Johnny pied Mackenzie, which I feel was completely expected because it seems like Johnny loves to mess with Mackenzie. But obviously, we know how sensitive Mackenzie is. This hurt her feelings. So she talked to Connor about it, and that just had to be addressed. I really think Mackenzie needs to relax. I love the girl. I really do. She really brings it on the show. But some things, like everything doesn't need to be hashed. Like it was really just a game. Once again, girl, he's just not that into you. We're about to talk about Moira and Calvin's relationship. So we already hashed over during the game Calvin pied Mackenzie. He also smooched Kierstan and married Moira, but Moira was not very enthused about accepting his hand in marriage because he kissed Kierstan. And Moira feels as though Calvin isn't giving her enough attention or physical affection. He's been saying some things to her that she finds displeasing and really just giving her friend vibes. I like Moira. I really do. She's from New Jersey. We make this podcast in Maryland. We are supporting the girl representing the East Coast, the state closest to Maryland, New Jersey. But I really just think Moira needs to let Calvin go. Like, I understand she likes his personality, that he's charismatic and charming, but the boy has already told you he's not that into you. He gave you a pitiful excuse for not taking the relationship further, which is he's shy about PDA. I think Moira is just trying to make it work and it's not working. And Calvin doesn't really have any other options in the villa. So he's trying to chill with Moira while also keeping her at bay. And it's just becoming a slightly embarrassing situation. So with Calvin, he did apologize to Mackenzie later in the episode about pieing her for taking Connor on an emotional roller coaster. Mackenzie said in the confessional that that emotional roller coaster was with both of them, like it wasn't all Mackenzie. So that sort of made her wonder, okay, what is Connor saying to the guys? And we talked about that on this podcast a little bit, like that Connor is being dishonest. He's saying one thing to the guys and another thing to Mackenzie. So that's why we don't have any sympathy for him. But I also don't think there was any harm in what Calvin did. It was just a joke, like he said. But I also appreciate that he apologized to Mackenzie because her feelings were obviously hurt. So he's definitely a sensitive and aware guy, which is nice to see. And Connor is his best friend, so it makes sense that he wanted to like get that girl back for just even putting any emotional stress on his friend. The kiss with Kierstan, I think Calvin really wants to pursue Kierstan more, but Kierstan is very wrapped up in Carrington. Let's not forget that they have that Texas sass in common. And yeah, I just really wish Moira would either stop trying to make it work with Calvin or just look elsewhere. I mean, Caleb is still open, maybe flirt with him. I like Justine and Caleb, but it's just really starting to hurt me that Moira isn't getting as many scenes. She's not seeming as fun, and her relationship just isn't working. Please, girl, accept that he's just not into you and move on. We also got a scene of Justine and Caleb talking about Moira and Calvin's relationship, and they both agreed that the girl for Calvin hasn't walked into the villa yet. So, given that these islanders spend all day together, if Justine and Caleb can pick up on the fact that Moira and Calvin aren't snapping, Moira really needs to move on. Please, Moira, we just want the best for you. Now we move on to the couple we care about the most, Justine and Caleb. J-Lub, yes. Team Justine all the way. Still standing Justine. She still deserves better, and her upgrade is coming. Whether you like to hear it or not, Justine is getting her upgrade. It's on the way. Come on, Casa Amor. So in this episode, Justine tells Caleb that he's hard to read, and in the confessional, she's telling us that she's getting the sense that he may not be interested. She's not sure. So we get a scene of them talking on the couch about where they are with each other. And as soon as Justine said that she suspects Caleb may not be that into her, I instantly think, girl, listen to your gut. Because just looking at them in the small scenes we've seen them in throughout several episodes, I don't think Caleb has that initial physical attraction to Justine. I think she's beautiful. We think she's beautiful. But just looking at their body language when they've spoken, Caleb just doesn't seem very attracted to her. And I think he's becoming more attracted to her as they talk more and they get to know each other. But I also think he's in a position where he's just being open. You know, he's just trying it because no one else in the villa is giving him attention. So although I like Caleb and Justine together, unfortunately, they are another leftover situation. Let's not forget that Caleb does prefer white women, and he did try to flirt with the other girls in the villa. We saw brief scenes of it, but he did try to talk to other girls in the villa before he moved to Justine. And then he told her, hey, I want to be open to you. I realize now that we need to try to give things a shot. And Justine at the time was trying to move away from Trey. So Caleb and Justine are a coupling of convenience to some degree. So we have to remember that and take it with a grain of salt. We're Team Justine here, and we want the best for her. It doesn't matter who she wins with. She just needs to win. Caleb is a nice guy. I like him, but if he's not the one, that's fine. Team Justine only. So I just think Caleb, I don't think he's being intentionally like hard to read. I just think he's not giving Justine those signals, and he's a genuine guy, so he can't fake it or force it. He's just being open with her. And I appreciate that he's trying to make it work with her, especially when they have that conversation about their love languages. Justine says she needs more physical touch. And I think Caleb's love language is words of affirmation because that's how he shows love to Justine. He told her that he compliments her a lot. He always tells her that she looks good and stuff like that. So usually we love other people the way we want to be loved. But Justine is like, I want you to, you know, show me more affection. And that's what you actually need for a romantic relationship. You want someone to cuddle with and feel like intimate with. And I don't think Caleb is opening up in that way just because he's not there yet with Justine. So I appreciate him saying he's shy, but he's open to trying it. I hope the two of them continue on a positive road. But like I said, I'm not attached to Caleb. It's Team Justine. Her upgrade is coming because, yeah, that's just how things work for her. She has that power. I mean, Caleb, he can get hooked all he wants, but Justine just has more things coming. Speaking of people trying to make it work, Kierstan and Carrington are over. It's not really funny, but I really just hate that these girls are trying to make it work with these guys, and these guys are just losing interest. It just hurts me to see it, and it really hurts me to watch Kierstan because Carrington has clearly lost interest in her. She realizes he's lost interest in her, yet she's still trying to pursue him. Like, it's obvious that she likes him more than he likes her. And we talked in previous episodes that when Lauren appeared, Kierstan put the pressure on, and that made Carrington back off a little bit more. And now in this episode, they have that conversation about Carrington just not being that into it anymore. And I really think Kierstan turned him off. I'll keep saying that, and I'm so sad about it. We had that shower scene between them where Kierstan was making out with him in the shower, and Carrington made eye contact with us like, you see me? I hated that. That made me so embarrassed for her because she's trying to, like, I guess turn him on or whatever, and he's just not in the moment. He just feels very uncomfortable and is very conscious of the fact that he's being watched. So one thing I will say about Carrington's character is he does come across to me as genuine, and I think he's actually a shy guy. He talks himself up as an alpha, a big man, that sort of thing. But I think he's still very self-conscious about the fact that he's on TV, which is good to know. We can trust him to keep it real. Later, Kierstan has a chat with the girls, revealing that Carrington like touched her boobs in the shower. And later during the game, she announces to everyone that they made out in the shower. And I'm like, this girl is laying claim to her man in front of everybody, and it's making me uncomfortable because we can see how much Carrington is not feeling it. And I just want my girl Kierstan to move on, like my girl Moira. Just get a man who is going to play along with you and appreciate you, you know? I mean, I think Carrington does respect Kierstan and he does appreciate her, but he has communicated to her with his words, with his chest, very clearly in the conversation we get later in the episode on the daybeds, that he doesn't think he's the guy for her. And that's respectable because he didn't go chatting around to everybody else saying how he feels about her. He told Kierstan to her face in a calm way. So I still respect Carrington for that. And I just hope that they bring in some bombshells for the girls because they need to get off it. These boys ain't it. So yeah, it was just sad watching her trying to progress with him, but it wasn't going anywhere. But once again, I do respect Carrington because he's not going to try to force the relationship with Kierstan. I think that's a large part of what's wrong with Connor and Mackenzie. Like, they're clearly incompatible at some foundational level, but they're still trying to make it work. They're trying to force it, and it's making a messy, toxic relationship. While Carrington sees, okay, we're not clicking because our love languages aren't the same, and maybe there's something else that we don't know about yet, but he sees that foundationally they're not compatible. So there's no use in trying to force it, which is the right idea. So bring on a new man to help Kierstan get her spark back. No more being hung up on these guys. I really just think the Islanders are playing it way too safe. I wish Kierstan would try to have some more conversations with Caleb because she seemed to be flirting with him a little bit on their date. I wish she would have some more conversations with Calvin because I think he wants to explore something with her, but she's just so locked in on Carrington. The same with Moira. Like, there are other guys on the island. Maybe we're just not seeing them having those other conversations. Like, people have been commenting that Justine and Connor have this pop-in relationship, or like friendship, that was exemplified during the game because Connor kissed Justine in the game and Justine proposed to Connor, but we have not seen any scenes of their amazing friendship. So I guess they just give us the main stuff, but we need to see more of these girls winning. That's for sure. Okay, we have two couples left to talk about. Let's go ahead and talk about Tre and Lauren. These are our singles in the house. No, we still have a Tre hate train on Twitter. People aren't really checking for Lauren that much. I think it's unfortunate that so many people are making fun of her looks on Twitter. She's actually a very good looking woman. But the most we saw of them in this episode was Lauren still can't stand Trey snoring, which is hilarious. Tre announces that he wants Kierstan. So Kierstan has 3 suitors right now that she's ignoring. I mean, I don't think Kierstan and Tre are going to snap. I really don't think she's attracted to him or likes him very much. And in a conversation between Lauren and Tre, they revealed to us that they don't work. Like, their personalities aren't well suited. So I don't know what's going on with Tre. Maybe all the girls are just convinced he's a player because Tre and Justine didn't work either. I'm assuming their personalities just didn't click. I don't know. Just another guy who doesn't have somebody in the villa right now. And then Carrington and Lauren want to like explore what's going on. So I'm glad that someone in the villa is making some moves at least. But that's really all that's going on with Tre and Lauren. They're just basically chilling, waiting to make moves on people. So lastly, we have our longest standing alpha couple, Cely and Johnny, aka Jelly, and they think everybody in the villa is jelly of them. But that's not the takeaway I got from their scenes in this episode. I think Cely is actually catching real feelings for Johnny. I think she is personally invested. And when she jokingly says, I want to make him fall in love with me, I think she means it. I think she already loves Johnny. I'm not saying she's in love with him, but I do think she loves Johnny. And she's hoping that he's starting to feel the same way about her. And I'm just really early on starting to feel bad for Cely because I appreciate her so much. I love her confidence, and she brings so much value to the show, and I'm sure in her friendships and in her personal life as well. And it's already starting to hurt me that Johnny isn't giving her the signs she needs, that he's taking their relationship seriously. And I know that Cely wants something real, and I'm getting the sense that she's a girl who may not stick up for herself very well, because I know she's trying to be a realist about the situation. They're in Love Island and they're coupled up. They're not in a real relationship, and they won't be in a real relationship until they leave the villa, or unless they make their relationship official in the villa. So I appreciate that she's trying to keep it real in her head, but it's a hard battle because her feelings are growing and she's starting to develop hopes for their relationship. And Johnny isn't really showing that he wants a real relationship with Cely, because during their little spa day, when she brings up, trying to talk about something outside the villa, it sounded like he changed the conversation to them comparing their villa relationship to the other couples in their current situation. So it's just making it seem like Johnny is more concerned about the right now and the competition rather than building on his relationship with Cely. And that bothers me. That really bothers me. It's making me suspicious of Johnny. I mean, Johnny was already a questionable character because we had some drama come out about him about 2 weeks ago from his ex-girlfriend, Tori Stenson, sort of exposing him for not being a good boyfriend. So if you want to hear more about that and all the details, we have some episodes a few days back. But I really hope that Cely and Johnny start growing in the way that Cely wants, because she's getting hopes and I don't want her to end up heartbroken. Oh my goodness. No. I want them to send options for Cely. Every girl needs options. It really kind of bothered me how free Johnny felt to kiss Lauren in that challenge. Once again, nobody is in an official relationship, but the fact that he announced, I want to see what these UK girls are all about, and kisses Lauren. Boy, what? Like, you can't say one thing and act a certain way with Cely, and then as soon as you get the chance to, be free, so to speak, you just jump in it like that? That's concerning. So at the end of this episode, Ariel shows up during their neon party and kills everybody's vibe, slays everybody with her zebra outfit, and says, gather around the fire pit because somebody is leaving the villa tonight. So we voted, and the top 3 couples are Caleb and Justine, Calvin and Moira, Johnny and Cely. Excuse me, Calvin and Moira. I know Moira has a little fan base, but I didn't know they would push her to the top 3 like that. I guess Mackenzie was really on some bad behavior. So our bottom 3 couples are Tre and Lauren, of course, Connor and Mackenzie, Carrington and Kierstan. Carrington and Kierstan aren't that surprising. Although they have fans, they were cracking before this episode. So one couple is getting dumped. I'm predicting that Tre and Lauren are going to get dumped because they're the least compatible. They're the only, basically singles in the villa. Like, they've been single for the longest time. So even though Carrington and Kierstan are newly single, I just think Tre and Lauren are just way too incompatible. Like, at least Carrington and Kierstan had some romance going on at some point, and they have the potential to work it out. I don't think that's likely, but they at least have a romantic history. Connor and Kenzie are just a rocky relationship. Tre and Lauren definitely out. Next, we have our power couple rankings for this episode. Cely and Johnny are still our alpha couple. They've been our alpha couple for weeks. Once again, they're looking too perfect, but I believe we saw the first crack this episode when Johnny deflected perceiving their relationship outside of the villa. Number 2 in our beta spot, we still have Justine and Caleb, the fan favorites. Team Justine. Justine is winning the show. Watch. Unless Cely gets the Amber storyline because Johnny cheats on her in Casa Amor and everybody hates him. But we're still Team Justine. We're pushing that girl to the finale. Yes, queen. So our bottom 3 couples in our couple ranking, we left off Tre and Lauren because I'm already just counting them out in my head. Third, we have Connor and Mackenzie. Fourth, Carrington and Kierstan. Last, Calvin and Moira. Connor and Mackenzie for obvious reasons. They're still together, but they're messy. Carrington and Kierstan because they're freshly broken up. Calvin and Moira because I don't think those two ever left the friend zone. Lastly, we have our diversity percentage. With Tre and Lauren gone, our diversity percentage is at 50%. Unfortunately, we're not going to be doing our Twitter mentions this episode. Instead, we're going to be going over some of the results in the Love Island app. They took a poll that asked, who do you think is the most compatible couple? At the top of the poll was Cely and Johnny at 80.9%, and at the bottom of the poll was Moira and Calvin at 2%. That's weird. Because Moira and Calvin were put at the top 3. So maybe at the time they sent Ariel in, the results were different because all of the bottom results are pretty close. There's Kierstan and Carrington, Lauren and Trey at 2.2%. So really the 3 of them should have been at the bottom because Justine and Caleb are 8.7 and Mackenzie and Connor are 4.1. Yeah, that's odd. I don't know what to say about that. Maybe production is just trying to keep them on. I mean, we have to consider the fact that they may try to do stuff like that. So at the neon party, rank the Islanders' neon party dance moves. Johnny and Cely are at the top. I don't know how. Trey is number 2. I thought Trey was the top, actually. I liked his breakdancing moves. Then at the bottom was Mackenzie and Connor. Why? Calvin was right before them. I think Calvin's dance moves are kind of cute. I think he has a quirky personality. Then there's Mackenzie and Caleb. Caleb does the same move, I feel. That collar pop, that's all him. Nothing else to say about that. So a lot of people were upset about the cliffhanger. Yeah, I really hate the cliffhangers because it makes watching the commercials seem 100% more pointless. It's like we watched all of that, like just not to get the stuff we want. But lots of people rated the cliffhanger 3 angry faces. Thank you to everyone who participated in the group chat. It was a lot of fun watching the episode with you all. Keep up with us at LonelyLoquate on Instagram and Twitter. DM us if you'd like to be featured on the show. We love responding to listeners' comments. We'll be back tomorrow night with more fresh Love Island content.